So, Marvel Studios, no doubt, has been going through a lot recently, and they've been discussing and figuring out what they want to do with Phase 6 of the MCU, and not just Phase 6, but really just the entire story of the Multiverse Saga. Like, yes, they are determining what movies they need to put out in Phase 6, which shows are going to come out in Phase 6. But each movie has its own story, same thing with the Disney Plus shows, but the Multiverse Saga overall needs to have a big connecting story, especially since we are now approaching the end. And if the new reports that we are hearing today are accurate, then it sounds like Marvel Studios might be kind of having an issue with that. And this is due to some complications and some changes that Marvel Studios has had to deal with for the entirety of the Multiverse Saga. And according to a new report from the insider Daniel RPK, Marvel Studios is reportedly pausing all projects to fast track the end of the Multiverse Saga. He also states that only Spider-Man 4 and a mystery film will be released before the next Avengers movies. Everything else is on hold until after Secret Wars. Now, I'm not sure if this is a typo or he simply misstated this, but the way this sounds, it sounds like Spider-Man 4 is actually going to come before Avengers Doomsday. Now, take that with a grain of salt right now. We don't have full clarity on that, but if it did come before Avengers Doomsday, then that would mean we could have a relatively grounded Spider-Man story, which I know a lot of people have been really wanting. But right away, this would be a pretty huge decision by Marvel Studios. They are essentially trying to clean up the Multiverse Saga because they've had so many problems and move on to the next one. The next one widely believed to be about the mutants and the more supernatural side of the MCU. Now, going back to Daniel RPK's report, he could mean that Spider-Man and a mystery film will come before both of the next Avengers films, but he could also be stating that these are the only two films that are going to be happening between the next Avengers films. Because from what we had heard before, everything that happens between both Avengers films is going to take place on Battleworld, or at the very least be pretty big multiversal films, and that we were going to see quite a few movies in between. So perhaps that is what he means. Perhaps we're only going to get Spider-Man, which has the confirmed release date right now to be after Doomsday, so I'm assuming this is what we are getting. Spider-Man and then one more mystery project. Now, I've been reading a lot of comments about this. A lot of people think that it could be a good thing that they are trying to simply just get through the Multiverse Saga right now the best way that they possibly can and just simply jump into a new saga. And some people think that it's really wasted. And you could definitely think both. You can think that the saga was wasted. They didn't do a good job at it. So yeah, let's move on. I, for one, have really liked the idea of the Multiverse Saga, and I'm really hoping they nail Avengers Doomsday, Avengers Secret Wars, and everything else that goes into the story. But since Marvel Studios is reportedly fast-tracking the end of the Multiverse Saga and canceling some projects, let's talk about what that could look like. Now, I don't think they're going to be canceling anything that's upcoming soon, obviously, like Captain America Brave New World, or The Thunderbolts, or Daredevil Born Again. Those all have release dates. The same thing goes for the Fantastic Four. I don't think they're going to cancel that movie. I think it's going to play a pretty big role in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, the characters at least, the Fantastic Four themselves. But then we have shows like Ironheart and Vision Quest. Perhaps those shows could kind of get pushed to the side until after the Multiverse Saga because their stories don't necessarily have to do with the overall story of the saga. Then we have the Wonder Man series, we have Armor Wars, we have Blade, we have the second season of Daredevil Born Again, which of course is confirmed. We have Nova, which was confirmed to be in the works by a Marvel executive, Brad Winderbaum. We do have an X-Men movie that Marvel Studios themselves have confirmed that they are working on. And then of course we have the movies that have been rumored for a while now, like Shang-Chi 2. That one was actually confirmed, but since Destin Daniel Cretton is now directing Spider-Man 4, that might be one of them that gets pushed back. And we know Shang-Chi isn't going anywhere. We also heard from the insider My Time to Shine Hello that a solo Scarlet Witch movie is coming. However, Marvel Studios is not going to make that movie until after Secret Wars. That also means pushing back pretty big stories that are inside the Multiverse Saga right now to after, like the story of the Scarlet Witch possibly reuniting with her entire family. They're clearly setting that up right now They started with WandaVision. In Agatha All Along, we see the return of her son, Billy. They mention Tommy and how they're searching for Tommy, so we're assuming he's coming back. Of course, Vision Quest is coming with the return of Vision. That's being set up, and it's gonna pay off, but the question that I think Marvel Studios is really asking when it comes down to these stories is, should we do this now in the Multiverse Saga, or should we just wrap it up after? Let's finish the Multiverse Saga, finish the specific story about Incursions and Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange, the 3 Spider-Men, everything that they basically have, plus of course an entirely new story that they're going to introduce, and just tightly wrap it up the best way that they possibly could. This is where we're going to see the change, and I think the upcoming schedule is probably going to go something like this: Captain America Brave New World, Daredevil Born Again, the Thunderbolts, the Fantastic Four, no Ironheart, no Vision Quest, then Avengers Doomsday, Spider-Man 4, and then that mystery project, and then we get Avengers Secret Wars. Now that mystery project, I want to assume is Doctor Strange 3, especially since he's kind of the only one that has really talked about incursions in a really big way and has actually shown the destruction of universes. Plus, Clea said that he himself actually caused an incursion. And in the comics leading up to Secret Wars and in Secret Wars, Doctor Strange is a really big part of what happens. Plus, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, whether you like that or not, it was actually a pretty big multiversal film, as far as introducing us to the multiverse, kind of telling us the rules and what happens when you break those rules, aka incursions. So I'd be really, really surprised if we didn't get Doctor Strange 3. Another project that is possible, but I think far less likely, is a Young Avengers project. It's very clear that they were setting that up in the MCU. They made it very clear with the ending of The Marvels, where we had Kamala Khan go to Kate Bishop and she mentioned Ant-Man's daughter. Now we have Billy in the MCU, the son of the Scarlet Witch. He's looking for his brother Tommy, aka Speed. There's America Chavez. We have a lot of Young Avengers in the MCU right now, so it's very clear that Marvel Studios was setting them up. However, that might be put on the back burner as well, or maybe we see them assemble perhaps an Avengers Doomsday or Avengers Secret Wars, and their own solo project gets postponed until after the Multiverse Saga. So again, that could be that mystery project, but I'm assuming it's Doctor Strange 3. It also could be the Scarlet Witch project if they want to figure out a way to bring her back and use her own movie, but again, we've heard they're going to push that back until after as well. And if this all ends up being accurate and Marvel does decide to do this, they're really going to have to make it pretty tight in Avengers Doomsday, because nothing has really brought everything together, both characters and the story of the Multiverse Saga, at any point in time right now. Now, we do know that in Captain America Brave New World, Thunderbolt Ross is going to ask Sam Wilson to reinstate the Avengers, so it'll kind of start to come together then. The Thunderbolts are also going to play a role in the next Avengers film, so we've heard. So Doomsday is really going to have to bring all of the heroes together. They're going to have to bring characters back like Captain Marvel, Thor, Hulk, the original Avengers, what's left of them at least, the Fantastic Four, perhaps the Guardians. We obviously know that Star-Lord is going to return because that's what it said at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 3, so it's going to have to bring a lot together. And of course, Spider-Man. He's going to have a big story, and his movie should be coming after Doomsday. Again, I know what was reported, Daniel RPK said, before the next 2 Avengers films, but again, we have a release date for Spider-Man 4 already, and it comes after Doomsday. So I think he meant in between the 2 Avengers films. We get Spider-Man and that mystery movie. And it makes sense because Spider-Man is supposed to be one of the big leads of the entirety of the Multiverse Saga, but specifically Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. So going into his story, which I'm assuming will tie into the others, it makes sense to go into that story between the 2 Avengers films. And of course, the same thing applies for Doctor Strange. It makes sense that he would kind of tie everything together with the multiverse, since he's already kind of done that. It is a very interesting move by Marvel Studios. Perhaps it will make it better. It should definitely make it to where it's all cleaner. It all kind of connects a little bit more, and maybe that will result in it being better. Hopefully it does. If this happens, fingers crossed that they execute it in a really great way. And as far as the next sagas are concerned, well, Marvel Studios now has characters that they couldn't use before ready to go. And we've already seen them kind of use some in a really great way, Deadpool and Wolverine, and they can essentially start from scratch after the Multiverse Saga, so I'm sure whatever comes next is going to be amazing, but I hope the Multiverse Saga ends with a bang. We'll have to wait and see on that. In the meantime, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you can stay up to date with all things in the MCU. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.